evening, and welcome to another night of SRN action here. And we're out here at Kansas Speedway under the lights for some TJ's Team Truck Series action here on Speed Racing Network. I'm Greg Olenek, joined by Brandon Domain. Brandon, it's our first broadcast of Season 4. You were without me last week, but joining you this week, and it's going to be a good one here under the lights. One of the more fun tracks here in the Truck Series. Yeah, it's going to be a good one here. We had a good one last night out at Nashville Super Speedway in the Cup Series, and it was green the entire time. Wondering if we'll see maybe the same here tonight in the Truck Series. It's going to be a quick one, though, and like you said, a lot of battling all over the track. So let's go ahead and check out those Truck Series points here before these guys get out there on the track here in just a few minutes. Ben Park with a 25-point gap over the cut line. Kyle Spees with that win last week finds himself in a tie for second with Troy Techmeyer and John Holliday. Byron Jones rounding out the top five. A lot of new names here on the points list, so I'm sure a lot of the guys returning from last season are going to be a pay attention to these guys that are trying to make a name for themselves.
Daytona 150 a week ago, but you're seeing a lot of those power names sitting right there. You got a Trevor Williams who was in the championship race, Landon Cardulo, Sean Jensick, Blair Holloman. You got Matt Greathouse who came down from the Cup Series. He's in the mix as well as last week's winner, Kyle Spees, finally getting that first win, sitting there in P2.
Well, Brandon, it's been like I'm talking to myself, I guess, thanks to Lucas out there in the chat telling me that I had you muted. So that's not very nice.
Oh, my.
Yeah. I mean, we all know what you were saying, though. It's going to be a good one here. And, yeah, it's going to be a good one to see who is going to make a name for themselves. But this is what I'm excited about, Brandon, the new team championship standings. And we're already starting to see some guys getting out to the top here. TJ's team scoring the most points last week and getting a win. So they're going to be at that top spot. Bobby Anderson Racing, JBR, and Tank Racing all getting wins. And Zuyost, PBR, JW, and Rat Pack Racing going to try and get out of the hole this week because you can't let these guys get too far ahead. We all know what fantasy football is like. You start to dig yourself a hole, it's hard to climb out of.
Yeah, and it's always kind of interesting, and I think we're seeing it in the Cup side right now too, where you could be one of the three best teams out there and just have the worst matchups to go against every time. So you kind of have to make sure that you're playing up to the opponent, but you got to do what you got to do at the same time. Sometimes you're just going to get a bad draw. So some of these teams like a Zuyost, a PVR, JW Racing, Rat Pack Racing, all solid lineups, just tough draws there in week one. And TJ's Team Racing, Bobby Anderson Racing, JBR, Tank Racing, all showed up very strong at Daytona. So this is going to be a lot of shaking up on this team side, I think.
Let's go ahead and check out those matchups for this week before these guys get out there on the track. Tank Racing going up against JW Racing. JBR going to take on Zuyost this week. Phoenix Virtual Racing going to take on Rat Pack. And then we got TJ's team going up against Bobby Anderson Racing. So just a few more guys to turn some laps on the track out there before we get out there and get this thing kicked off under the lights here at Kansas Speedway. So let's go ahead and give our sponsors a few shout outs here. And Butt Kicker, definitely got to thank them for coming back on board here in Season 4. Go ahead and check out all they have to offer, just a few of the items right there, and go ahead and check them out at buttkicker.com. Also, go ahead and check out TJ's team at morethanAcape.org. One of the best foundations that we've ever worked with, and we've worked with a few of them here on Speed Racing Network, but this one near and dear to us, Brandon.
Absolutely is, and we've talked about them plenty as the seasons have gone by, but always worth pointing out again. You know, they do some amazing things when it comes to helping out families that are going through just ultimately difficult times where you know, their kids are ill or have some type of issue that puts them into the hospital, just kind of helps them get by. There's a whole lot more information at morethanAcape.org, and if you're able to donate, please do so, and it will go a long way.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and head on out there to the track, why don't we, and get this thing kicked off here tonight for race number 2 of the TJ Steam Foundation Truck Series. And these are the big, important races. You got to take advantage of these early races so you're not left trying to climb out of an early hole once we get down to cut time. So let's go ahead and check out the starting order for tonight's race. Matthew Greathouse in his debut here in the Truck Series, making his second start here tonight at Kansas. He's going to be starting on the pole in that 51 machine. Sean Jensick there going to start outside the pole there in second for Rat Pack Racing. His teammate Michael Madden just behind him there in third, and David Miller. So Rat Pack, PVR here in the first 2 rows.
And then row 3, we got another one, but on the inside, it's going to be Bobby Anderson of Bobby Anderson Racing. Oh, and then there's a third PVR truck with Jose Castellanos sitting in the outside in P number 6. Finally getting a little bit of a mix here in row number 4. Trevor Williams and Rob Yost Jr. will make up that row. Row 5 will be Landon Cardulo and Dane Gagliano. And then in row number 6, Jason Kratke and Danny Dow will be rounding out those top 12 positions.
And a big field here tonight, 43 cars. So that's the rest of your next 6 rows right there. You got Michael Arch, Andrew Harris up here, Brad Herman, Bo Tiffany, Lane Doyle, Troy Techmeyer, and Nathan Nixon, as well as Lucas Lyons rounding out our top 10 rows. So we were talking about it kind of before we went on here. It's a tough one to pick with all the talent in this field here tonight. Who you think you got your eyes on right now, Brandon?
Yeah, there's a couple guys up near the front that really do catch my eye at the 1.5-mile tracks, but one that I think just kind of due to get a good finish here early on in the season. Going to go back to position number 9 in that 13 truck of Landon Cardulo. Had a little bit of a rougher season last year compared to what we saw in season number 2. I think this is the season where he's going to get it turned back around a little bit earlier on this time around, and that this is a good track for him. I think Landon's going to be somebody to keep an eye on.
I'm going to go a little bit further on in the back here, and I think this guy gets off the schneid. Been over the season now since he got his first win at Daytona last year. I think Lane Doyle gets it done for these guys here at JW Racing tonight, but Matthew Greathouse doesn't want to hear any of that. He wants to win it after getting the pole here. He's going to see that pace car head on down pit road, and he's got to wait patiently now until we get to that Geico restart zone. And now that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag is finally waving, and we're here underway at Kansas Speedway.
And that was a huge jump there for Greathouse in the all-pink front row battle that we saw there. He jumped out to about a 4-truck length advantage over Michael Madden, who followed him through the open window on the inside line. Sean Jensick falls back to P number 3. Not sure if he spun the tires or if he just got caught sleeping there a little bit for that green flag.
Look at this monster field just barreling through the turns right now here at Kansas. And it is going to be an action-packed night, 90 laps. The first one now complete. Matthew Greathouse gets that lap lead and that ever-important bonus point. But Michael Madden right on his bumper in that Toyota Tundra. It's going to have to get used to seeing Michael in a Toyota now. I've seen him in Fords for so long. But he's got his teammate Sean Jensick just behind him. David Miller in 4th. Jose Castellanos in 5th. So a PVR Rat Pack Racing battle here early on.
And that is, of course, one of the 4 matchups this week, so why not have that be playing out inside the top 5 right now? And you're seeing what we're going to see a lot here in this race, and especially right after the restarts. These trucks on fresh tires going to be pretty much flat-footing that throttle all the way around, which means the draft going to come into big-time play here for a 1.5-mile track. And Michael Madden trying to use that to his advantage. He got that draft on the front stretch, took a look to the inside. They're still side-by-side going to 3.
Yeah, how racy does Matthew Greathouse want to be? Not too racy, apparently, as he kind of concedes the spot to Michael Madden. Doesn't want to stay on that high line for too long, but gets a good run out of turn 4, as you can see. But now he's got to worry about Sean Jensick. You see a lot of pink trucks out there. That won't be confusing for us at all here.
Never seeing that. And hey, a lot of pink trucks out there for our second October race of the season. So obviously a noteworthy cause there. But one of the trucks not in pink here tonight is out in front. Michael Madden. Man, I'm catching on to what you were saying earlier also. I'm still kind of getting used to that Toyota there. But yeah, this big pack here now sorting out 3 wide, nearly 4 wide down that front straightaway, and that's going to be a tough deal for these drivers to transition, going through that apron, back up onto the banking. And if you take that apron, the rule of thumb normally is you're the one responsible for rejoining the racing surface cleanly. So that's something to keep an eye on here as this race goes on.
Bobby Anderson and Matthew Greathouse side by side battling here. Bobby Anderson quickly making a run up to the front in that 3 machine. He wants to get up there and lead some laps. Now to the outside is Sean Jensick for second.
Man, big time run there, and you can use that momentum on that high line. Everybody's going to be going pretty much full throttle around here for quite some time until the tire wear really becomes a factor, but that outside line still gets you a lot of momentum coming out of the turns, gets you a lot of speed down those straightaways, and Anderson taking use of that. Another couple of trucks that are starting to make their way up to the outside. See that 21 at David Miller.
Ooh.
A couple laps ago saw Landon Cardullo. We got trouble coming out of 4.
Jensick goes through the grass here, saves it. Right now, no caution. And that's going to be unfortunate for Sean Jensick here, who just can't seem to shake a string of bad luck. He's going to rejoin the racing surface here and try to salvage a good finish.
Oh, more trouble coming off of 2. Big wreck. 4 trucks, 5 trucks spinning around.
Yeah, James Kerr, Byron Jones involved, and now that caution does come out. Kevin Asanio also involved in this one.
I think the only person that's going to be happy to see that caution is going to be Sean Jensick, who just got a huge break to catch back up to the field. Obviously going to lose a lot of positions, but that is a massive break there to get him caught back up to the field.
Yeah, let's go ahead and check out the admin box wreck replay real quickly here. There's Kevin Asanio and that Buffalo Bills Zubaz paint scheme. Byron Jones? See him
Travis. Yeah, I saw Travis Burton there in the 92. Also saw the 66 truck, which is talking of things we got to get used to. That's Kyle Ryan this year in the 66. See Ben Park there in the 8 truck, already turned around. He's got, that looks like an accordion effect here.
Yeah, take a look at it from the blimp.
So that's going to be Tyler Markle in the 42 truck, and I think he just slowed up. I think he saw what happened. Yeah, I think he saw what was going on with the 25 truck, a couple trucks up ahead, and he checked up. That got everybody all out of sorts, and then chaos happening out there coming out of turn 2.
Yeah, let's take one more look at this one here, but let's ride on board here with Sean Kozier, why don't we? I think he navigated his way through here pretty well. Let's take a look.
Riding that apron, almost getting through.
That's not too much damage there. He should be able to get that fixed. I'm not sure if that's the 90s. No, this is Kevin Asanio right now.
Yeah, so. Looking at that spoiler back there in the mirror, that definitely has that Zubaz look.
I was like, I don't know if that's how this ended up for Sean Kozier. There he is right here. Let's ride on board with the 97 now.
Man, just powering his way through the middle there for a bit, doing a good job taking that little apron escape route. Shooting the gap, sees part, nice and clean there for Kozier.
Yeah, makes it look real easy. He's going to come down and make a pit stop here just to like a few other guys. The top 30 opting to stay out. Actually, the top 25 opting to stay out, but the rest of the field, and that's a big one, all coming down to make some service.
Yeah, and what this is going to do, too, if this race went green the entire way, we were looking at a race that these drivers might be able to stretch it into a one-stopper. This caution should pretty much seal that. So these guys staying out here, not too much of a risk. There's not a whole lot of green flag wear on these tires. This track pretty gentle on the tires in these trucks as well, compared to some of the other ones out there, like a Darlington or an older Atlanta or places like that that'll really scrub them up. So I think this isn't a bad call staying out there right now, and should make it where all these trucks will be able to make this a one-stop race.
Yeah, I mean, if you had more of the field coming down, it might make it more of an advantage, but for those guys with the fresh tires, there are so many trucks to pass right now. It is going to be difficult to make some time and keep those tires pretty green at the same time. So we'll see if they can manage to make up some ground. I mean, you got Matthew Greathouse, one of the guys who opted to come down pit road. He is now back in 33rd position after starting the night on P number 1. But right now, that position belongs to Michael Madden. He's got David Miller to his outside, Jose Castellanos, Landon Cardullo, and Jason Crackey rounding out the top 5. Pace car lights are off. We're going to get this thing kicked off one more time.
And we'll see on these restarts on a little bit worn tires, nothing too great there, but I'm curious to see if we still see the aggressiveness that we saw on that original start. Got a little bit of wear now, should be a little bit more slick on these tires, but they should still be able to go 100% throttle. Should still see a pretty good draft here. Let's see if they keep that intensity up, though.
And a pretty good restart for Michael Madden. He gets out to a big jump, catches the 21 sleeping, and I think Miller missed a shift, too. He's falling way back here in a hurry.
Yeah, that had all the telltale signs of a missed shift there for that 21 truck as he fell back now to 5th, 6th place as he gets passed by Dean Gagliano to the inside. Danny Dow taking a look to the inside as well. David Miller falling back a good 6-7 spots here on this restart.
Yeah, we talked about Danny Dow earlier, had some speed in practice as well as qualifying, so he's now making a pass on Gagliano to put that 2 truck up into the top 5. Good looking 2 truck. I thought it was a Dodge for a second, kind of one of the Mopar paint schemes in the later stages of the Mopar days with the blue and black paint schemes. Looks good out there.
Yeah, those are always some good looking trucks. I do have a soft spot for the late 90s, early 2000s truck series, and definitely catch those vibes there with Danny there in that truck. And he saw a race go caution free last night, admitting that Cup Series race, and already sees one here, but still, he's making his way through the field. Nice, patient run, picking up spot by spot for the fastest man in practice.
Right now, a battle for the lead here. Jose Castellanos right on the bumper of Michael Madden here in turns 1 and 2. Not wanting him to get away by any means. Jason Crackey getting up here, making some noise now. The 54 up into P3. Landon Cardulo back to 4th now. He's not going anywhere. We got a 4-way battle for the lead. They make contact.
Oh! Wow, real nervous moment there for all 4 of those trucks. As the 15 and the 5 got together, that kind of checked up the 54 at Kratky, Landon Cardulo, and then now we got 4 wide coming out of that front straightaway.
Yeah, Gagliano using all of the racetrack. Kind of a new Dean Gagliano we're seeing here. A little more aggression from the 45. And look, it's paying off so far. Up in the top 5. And for a second, looked like he was going to make it in the top 3 with everybody battling as hard as they are here.
So I've got the answer to my question on the restart. Is the intensity still going to be high? Yeah, pretty high out there right now as we're about 4 laps into this green flag run since the restart, and we are seeing the exact same racing that we did on the initial start.
Yeah, 3 wide further on back here. That's Andrew Harris on the high side in the 87. He's got Jason Crackey in the middle of this sandwich. They're going to sort it out and think better of it here, I believe. Trying to figure out who all these new trucks are. Not sure who that red truck is. Okay, that's the 17 of Daniel Park that was battling to the inside. I got a lot of homework to do in this truck series. You have a week a head start on me.
And I'm still trying to figure out everybody out there with all the changes. Got manufacturer changes, team changes, new drivers changing all over the place, but still out in front. 3 names we're pretty familiar with when it comes to the truck series. Madden, Castellanos, and Cardulo all leading the way ahead of Danny Dow, somebody else we're very familiar with, and Dean Gagliano rounding out the top 5, still seeing the top 7 trucks all within a second of each other, 6 laps into this restart.
Yeah, Landon Cardulo getting up here and showing some aggression now, wanting to make a move on the 5 here of Jose Castellanos, who's got a little bit of damage to the rear end of that 5 machine after that little shaky moment there between the leaders. But the car is still looking, truck, looking to still be handling pretty well. He's maintaining speed and trying to make some ground up on the 15, but that can hinder you a little bit in the draft, so we'll see if he has trouble here trying to suck up behind the 15.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's handling pretty well to this point. I'm a little bit curious how it's going to play in once the tire wear starts to increase a little bit, if that's going to make that truck just a little bit harder to handle there for that 5. But normally, back end on the trucks here, if you kind of stay in line, shouldn't be too bad, but we really don't have the full picture on that one just yet.
So let's just give you guys an update once again here on the point situation here in the TJ's Team Truck Series. Ben Park finds himself at the top of the point standings, but Ben Park not having the best night so far. He's back in the 35th position. Kyle Spees, who got that win last week, he's tied for 2nd place. He's back in 25th. And Techmeyer, who's tied with him as well. back in 15. So a lot of points to be made up on these lead pack guys by a Michael Madden, who's a little bit further on back in the pack, like say Sean Jensic, who we saw battling up here, or even a Castellanos. You don't see any of these guys on this top 20.
No, and really, we got one around on the front straightaway. Caution out on the track.
Yeah, looking like the 47 of Lane Doyle involved in this one here.
And still some dicey moments working their way, trying to squeeze around that wall. And the dormant 47 truck, who's now going to get it fired up, waiting his time, which a lot of drivers will be thankful for that one. But a rough start here to the season for Lane Doyle here.
Yeah, let's go ahead and figure out exactly what happened. Looks like it might have started with Dean Gagliano. Let's get a blimp look at this here. So David Miller also involved at the kind of just sandwich there. All came together. And then the 45 just spinning like a top in the middle of the track. Hard for these guys to go anywhere.
Yeah, kind of once he got to that angle where he was pretty much blocking about 2/3 of the racetrack, that was very difficult and a tough spot here. I'm curious if there's a little net code here. That first glance looked like that might have been a little bit of a factor. See the 21 starting to come up, maybe not knowing he's 3 wide or didn't have as much space there. But definite contact, so I'll take back the net code thought. But definite contact there, launching the 45 up into the 46. 46, Trevor Williams does a great job to hang on to it, but not the case for Dean Gagliano, who goes straight into the wall and just nowhere for anyone to go behind him.
Yeah, Lane Doyle just nowhere to go. Big damage for that 47. So 2 JW Racing trucks, boom, just like that. Bo Tiffany also involved, it looked like right there in the 49. So 3 JW Racing trucks. Going to be pretty banged up after this one. So looking like we're going to see pit stops from everybody this time.
Yeah, well, I'll actually say 4. Trevor Williams getting up into that at the very start of that. So 4 of the 5 JW trucks all caught up in that one in some form or fashion. But up front, still going to be Michael Madden. First one out of pit road. Danny Dow going to jump up to position number 2. Andrew Harris up to 3. Jose Castellanos and Blair Holloman rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead, step aside, run our first commercial break of the night, and they'll come back with our second restart of the night. Don't go anywhere.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacktacks.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker, the future is feeling.
All right, well, let's get back out there, Brandon, and not waste any more time and get this Silverback Tax Solutions green flag back out here at Kansas Speedway. Michael Madden leading the pack. Danny Dow to his outside. See if he can get another good restart like he had the last time here. Creeping into the Geico restart zone. The green flag is back out here at Kansas.
That's definitely the most competitive restart we've seen all day out in front, as it's going to be Madden and Dow working together there. The Rat Pack teammates 1-2 with PVR teammates 3-4 with Harris and Castellanos all in a line. Blair Holloman, Trevor Williams, Michael Larch, another pair of teammates there. The 48 and 46 behind them. So a nice mix of a couple of tandems out here in Kansas.
Yeah, just look at this huge field. We mentioned it one time already. Still just as big. Even with all the incidents, a lot of these guys getting these repairs fixed. Every truck is going to be back out there, so 4 still getting repairs as Landon Cardulo, Richard Rico, Kyle Ryan, and Dean Gagliano. But knowing how important these team points are week in and week out, we're going to see these guys not manually disconnecting each time as we got a battle for the lead now. Andrew Harris making a strong push to the front.
And Andrew Harris, kind of the sneaky pick here in this race. He was the runner-up last season in Kansas, highest finishing driver in this field. It was Ryan Johnson that won this race last season. He's now in the Cup Series. Harris has the highest finish of second, trying to make that one better here, this time trying it on the high line as well.
Yeah, so riding on board the PVR machine of the 87, Andrew Harris to the outside, looking like he has sole possession of first place here. It's going to go ahead, tuck in down low, and that's going to put Blair Holloman into the scene now with that Kodak-looking number 10 machine, the Toyota Tundra. This is just newcomers coming and going here left and right.
Man, it feels like we haven't really changed too much from Daytona at this race. We're seeing a lot of pack racing around this Kansas mile and a half, seeing a lot of different names starting to creep up into the top 3, top 5 over the course of this race. A lot of moving up and down this leaderboard. It's Daytona and just a smaller field right now with a mile shorter of a distance every time around.
Yeah, just as many trucks taking up racing surface, but a lot less of it out there, and you can see just how crammed it is 3 wide here on the front stretch. Andrew Harris starting to pull out to about a 2-truck gap between him and the 10 here, but now the 48 of Michael Larch making his presence felt. That high line really bringing some guys into the picture here. I wonder who is taking note of that. Michael Madden going to lose another spot now, the 48 going by.
Yeah, and we saw a couple of guys in that first tire run start to make use of that high line. We saw Bobby Anderson do it. We also saw Landon Cardulo use it for a little bit there. Ooh. Oh, near contact moment. Great job for both Holloman and Harris to keep off each other, keep off the wall as well. We stay side by side for the lead and basically side by side all the way through the field.
Yeah, Andrew Harris is going to have a tough time hanging on to this with that bottom line right now. That might be the preferred line as far as saving tires goes, but no one really caring about that right now. It's a battle for track position as the 10 of Blair Holloman takes the lead this time, but quickly with a near full of the 48 of Michael Larch. Both of these guys, all 4 of these guys here in the top 4, big movers. You got Holloman up 29 spots, Larch up 11, Andrew Harris up 11, and Lucas Lyons up 16 positions.
And Lyons has been one that has just been dicing it up through the field, making some big moves, going high line to low line, being very aggressive when he sees a spot that he can fit that F-150 in. He's taken full advantage of any opportunity, and it's worked as he's made his way up through the field, those 16 positions, as you mentioned, trying to make it 19 with just those 3 more in front of him.
Man, almost makes contact with the 87 there, shutting the door on the 94, but Lyons gets a big run out of turn 4 and puts that nose to the inside of the 87, takes 3rd place, and wants to take 2nd while he's at it out to the inside of this 48 machine.
Man, he's making some big aggressive moves. Saw how shallow of an entry he made into that turn after taking that apron. Didn't really come up too much on the racetrack. That's going to work for a few more laps here as these tires are still pretty fresh. They're pretty much optimal right now. But I think as this tire run goes on a little bit longer, that might start to be a factor in having to scrub up just a little bit more of those tires each time he does something like that.
So now Danny Dowd is going to take a look to the inside here, the 87 of Andrew Harris. Dowd looking good so far early on here He fell back a little bit after making his way all the way up to second, now in fifth, but working on fourth. But Michael Madden, who's lost a few spots since this restart, he wants to get back up here too, but really hard to do it. I mean, you see all these names. You got Brad Herman now creeping into the picture. It's got to be hard to make up a lot of ground in this truck series with all these guys.
How about this? The top 14 drivers, only 4 of them started inside the top 14 themselves. This is unbelievable how much we're seeing shaking up this entire leaderboard. Might see a little bit more here. Michael Larch right on that tailgate of the 10 truck of Blair Holloman.
Yeah, and here comes the 94 Lucas Lyon. It's going to be nose to tail for our top 3 here as they exit turn number 4 and come back to the stripe to complete the 33rd lap of the race. And side by side, putting a little nose to the inside here, a little bit of air on the rear spoiler, and gives that 48 a really big run down into turn 1, and he's going to go ahead, slide up, and take that lead.
See if that outside line can get a little bit of a counter here from Blair Holloman as he got that big run. He's going to take a look to the inside now, and using that momentum, getting that big run deep into turn 3. He's going to get the nose out in front. I don't think he's going to get quite clear just yet. That might open up a little rebound as well for Michael Larch on the outside this time.
Slide job city here at Kansas Speedway. Expect nothing less when you have a high groove track like this, and the only way you can make passes is doing this on the inside. He almost gets enough room to slide up. Thanks better of it. You can see how that just kills your momentum on the backstretch.
Remember at the start of the show, we said if there's a track and car combination in iRacing that leads to excitement, it is this one, the trucks at Kansas. They are absolutely delivering just past a third of the way into this Jayhawk 135. I don't have track of the lead changes we've seen thus far, but I think we've got to be in double digits already.
Yeah, I wish I had the numbers right in front of me, but I'm going to go ahead and take the over when it comes to saying, 10 and lead changes, because I think we're way ahead of that at this point. But right now, the man at the helm, going to be the 48 of Michael Larch, kind of settles down out in front for the time being. So let's see what other action we got out there on the track. Sean Jensick trying to make his way back up through the field in that 29 machine. Here he is battling alongside the 54 of Jason Kratky, that position for 14th on the track. And you got, looks like Trevor Williams, Raul Mesa just behind him. So a nice little battle here.
Man, how about Sean Jensick? It wasn't that long ago, about 30 laps ago, he was 42nd dead last in the field, and now sitting there right back up in the 14th position, 15th position, working through turns 3 and 4. Great job by Jensick, working his way almost all the way back up through the field, back to where he was P3 when that incident happened.
Yeah, so Sean Jensick definitely has the speed to get it done here. Ran really well here last season, even though it shows as a P20 on the finishing column. He led the most laps here at Kansas Speedway. So even though he's got a little damage on that 29 machine, I think he might be safe to pencil in for a top 10 if he can keep it out there. But right now, Matthew Greyhouse taking a look to the inside. That was our pole sitter. He's made up a lot of positions here since coming down pit road.
Yeah, those fresh tires that he had early on, everybody kind of came down that pit road on lap 21 under our last caution, but Greathouse just working his way back up through the field. He fell all the way back down to the 33rd position, going on that off strategy with the rest of the leaders, and now sitting there made up about half that ground back up towards the front. So a good run here for a truck that we knew had some speed as he goes to the inside 3 wide. Trevor Williams on the outside, Jason Kratky in the middle.
Yeah, so Kratky going to go ahead and let the 51 have it. Doesn't want to battle 3 wide just yet. Smart man. But Trevor Williams not giving up. He's going to be right to the outside of the 51. This is for 15th once again. So, like he said, these points are going to matter when it comes down to the end of it. We penciled in the Cup Series matchups from last night, and it comes down to just a few points in some of these things. One came down to 3 points last night, and that's the difference between having a win and a loss. So it's not going to be points just added up. Oh, you can have a bad week here and there. This is going to be an interesting week in and week out. So keep an eye out on these two.
Yeah, this is the first time we've really been able to catch our breath under a green flag run here all night long. About 20 laps since everybody made their pit stop, about 16 since the restart. And I think this is about that time where the tires start to go just enough where the racing is going to have to kind of leave that pack style and go a little bit more to the traditional cookie cutter, where the draft is still going to be a factor, but they're going to get more spread out like we're starting to see now.
Not spreading out back here. Sean Kosher now under attack from Matthew Grayhouse. Grayhouse still trying to pick up a few positions. There he goes and gets on by for the 14th spot. But I think it's going to really start getting interesting back here once this lap traffic starts to impact the leaders a little bit more. And 42, 41 trucks still out there on the track. It's going to be very crowded. And we're probably getting close to that pit window too. You said before the race that it's possible for these guys to be a one-stop strategy tonight, and we are nearing that halfway mark.
Yeah, I think with the way that this is going to work out with the stops on lap 21, I would imagine they're going to take it a little bit farther than the 45-lap run that we could expect them to go. I don't think they're going to do a 25 and 45. I think we might start seeing some trucks make their way, maybe try and undercut in about 5 to 10 laps from now, maybe around lap 50, 55, probably going to be that optimal time where people will start kind of making their way towards pit road, though.
Here's Michael Madden battling alongside Danny Dow. Madden going to take that 6th position away from Danny Dow, so move Madden up to P6, Danny back to P7. And just behind them, Austin Purnell, he's in 8th. Haven't said his name in quite a while. He's having a very quietly good run here tonight after starting in 23rd all the way up into 8th. Looks like Jose Castellanos has fallen back to 9th, and Jeff Vickery going to round out our top 10 drivers. So like I said, just newcomers here and there. And we got our first taker on pit road. It's the 83 of Rob Yost.
So Rob Yost coming down. I think I saw a couple more make their way as well. There we got Bobby Anderson in the 3, and was that Kyle Spees in the 25? That is the 25. That's a little bit hard to see. Nathan Nixon in the 11. So we're starting to see these guys make their way down, and it's an interesting strategy. They can make it the rest of the way, but it's really setting up where they're going to have some significantly worn tires when a lot of the field are going to be pretty fresh.
Yeah, it's going to pay off for a little bit, but it's going to be really hard to maintain the speed all the way to the end of this one. So it looks like we got another one coming down. Raul Meso, Joe Ruggles, they're going to be the only two to come down that last time by. So we'll see just how long. We saw the strategy at Nashville playing out a little bit differently last night, where Ed Shearer stayed out for about 8 laps longer than anyone else, and he was just smoking people on that last run. So we'll see if anybody took notes from that, and maybe it works out the same way here in Kansas. Lucas Lyons coming down.
Man, I'm surprised we're seeing about a quarter of the field coming down this early, really setting up. Maybe they're feeling that this race is going to go green the rest of the way, and they're going to take that big stab at it, or maybe we'll see a late caution that'll kind of equalize everything, get everybody back down pit road. But I think this is really aggressive to be making this much of an undercut when you're going to have guys staying out probably another 10 laps or so. It's going to help out early on, but I think the back end of it's really going to hurt if this thing does stay green the rest of the way.
So Michael Larch hoping it stays green with how well that truck is running here on the long run, putting a half a second now between him and Blair Holloman, and another 0.3 back to the 87 of Andrew Harris. So really only 4 trucks within grasp of this leader, Brad Herman being that 4th truck, about 1 1/4 second back. The rest of the field falling way back, and it's going to be harder to catch him as the long run really continues. These JW guys usually practice these long runs and pit strategies, so we'll see when the 48 opts to come down. I have to imagine the rest of his teammates will probably join him as well. But Michael Larch, we've said his name for a while here, looking to get his first win ever in Speed Racing Network. He's got to go 40 more laps to do just that.
Yeah, coming down from the Xfinity Series a season ago, had a solid season there, getting to the playoffs when, I believe, 2nd round into the playoffs as well. Got thinking off the top of my head there. One thing I'm keeping my eye on, though, too, is inside. That's the 11 of Nathan Nixon, who just came down pit road in one of that group that came down in that first lap when we saw about 6-7 trucks make their way through. He's made up a little bit of time. You can see him there maybe about 4/10 a lap faster, 5/10 a lap faster there since we picked up. So he's got some good speed in it. Question's going to be, how is this going to work out long term? Obviously, we're seeing the undercut does have the power here about 30 laps in since they made their pit stops. but I just don't know if it's going to be the right call long term. We'll have to see how it plays out. But right now, like you pointed out, Michael Larch, with everybody staying out right now, really putting some gap there now. You see him about 1/10 of a second faster this last time by than Blair Holloman. Andrew Harris trying to put some pressure there. That's only going to increase that gap if those two start racing. And then everybody else pretty far behind for what we were expecting here on a 1.5 miles.
Yeah, for a few of these guys that were further on back in the pack, that's Nathan Nixon getting 1 lap back. He's still a lap down, so very much in danger of staying a lap down or possibly having to take a wave around if a caution were to come out right now and kind of foiling his strategy a little bit. So he's got to be a little bit worried about that. But the 46 coming down, so JW maybe not all working together here on the pit strategy. The 46 going to make his final pit stop of the night.
That's not something we hear every day, that JW kind of splitting up their strategy on the pit stops there. But, I mean, I don't blame them right now. You got Michael Larch out there still extending that lead. You want to leave him out there until he feels that he needs to make that pit stop. And honestly, he's got another 13 laps or so until he absolutely has to make that pit stop. I don't think the math really makes sense to do that, but he's still got plenty of life in those tires, still extending that lead and doing a really good job in that 48. Why not keep him out there? Meanwhile, big race here for second place as Andrew Harris was taking a look to the inside, just couldn't get the momentum down there compared to that high line that Blair Holloman has in the 10.
Yeah, that's the 99 of Wally Babb coming on by to get a lap back. He's still going to be another lap down as well. The 85, though, that's for position. This is a three-way battle for second here.
Man, this is just playing out like a typical Brad Herman style race, watching him in the 4th place position in that 85, that blue and white truck, 3rd in line here. Just those patient races that kind of, maybe he'll have some cautions early, but then really get to that green flag run. He just knows how to read the race really, really well. And once those green flag runs really stretch out, does a great job of managing his equipment, managing those tires. You see him reeling in. He's probably got the fastest truck out there right now of those that have not made a pit stop and that aren't Michael Larch out in lead.
Yeah, so just being real patient and just trying to find the right time. But right now, as you can see, really hard to do that when everybody is running the high line. Probably doesn't have the grip he needs to make a pass down low right now. So just staying within grasp of these 2nd and 3rd place trucks. Might see Blair Holloman come down this time as he goes down low.
I was just thinking the same thing. There he goes, 10 truck down on the pit road. When he made that dive down to the inside, Michael Larch going to do so as well. Coming in pretty hot. Think he got that in just in time. Really optimizing that entry onto pit road. Being very aggressive with it, but I think he was good on the speed limit. Seeing a lot more takers this time by. Everybody kind of playing follow the leader here, but still out there, Andrew Harris and Brad Herman. 1-2. Harris did lead that last lap.
Yeah, I think this is going to entice these two to come down this time. Harris doesn't need to stay out there anymore, and he's going to prove me wrong and stay on the high line. Brad Herman, though, looking like he's going to come down.
Yep, a nice high entry there for Brad Herman. Does control it, and then you see everybody swarming behind him. I believe that was Madden, Dow, Purnell, and I'm not sure who the other one was. Only caught a glimpse of that. Sean Jensick, there we go. Jose Castellanos on the pit road as well. So the majority of the top 10 making their way to their pit stall this time for what should be the final pit stop of the race.
So Andrew Harris, there he goes. He's going to go ahead, a little lower entry into turn 3 this time. Set that 87 up to come on down pit road. A little bit of a safer pit entry. That could cost you some time when it comes down to these green flag pit stops. So we'll see where he cycles out here. But looking like everybody, looks like Jose Ruiz and Jason Kratky going to be the last two. Kratky's going to come in, so Ruiz is the last driver to come down pit road here.
Oh, and if he was trying to get that point for the lead lap, Andrew Harris beat him to the line just barely while on pit road. So Ruiz still not getting credit for a lap led there. He was P2 across the line last time by, but looks like he's going to be coming down pit road this time.
Yeah, I think he'll get it if he comes down pit road this time regardless, but that can be a heartbreaking scenario sometimes because we've seen it. Brandon, I'm not going to bring your name up into this at all. We've seen these seasons come down to 1 point, so he's not going to get it because it's an early pit entry, so man, could be big.
That's going to hurt for the man that mentioned it last week. Didn't have a ride here in the series until Tuesday night before Daytona, and got the fill-in spot there for Travis Anderson. And he's going to be running that 88 truck all season long. And yeah, did not lead that lap. It's going to go to Lucas Lyons last time by. And I believe that's going to be the first lap led for the 94 tonight. So give him a bonus point that he'll need as we move forward towards the playoff.
Yeah, so Lucas came down 9 laps before Michael Larch, who is in second. Larch 4.8 seconds back, though, and you can see that difference really shrinking quickly here. It's going to be real hard for Lucas to hang on here. He's hoping for a caution.
Well, he's hoping that there wasn't going to be any contact there. Tight moment there with Ben Park, who was getting one of his laps back, maybe his second lap back after the pit stops. Yeah, he is back on the lead lap. Now got the 16 of Derek De Silva trying to get back on the lead lap naturally as well. Currently the lucky dog. Once he makes that pass, it'll be Travis Burton in the 92 that'll be in position for the lucky dog. Should have caution come out with 30 laps to go.
Yeah, 30 laps to go and 31 trucks on the lead lap, so 2/3 of the way done here tonight. Lucas Lyons hoping to hang on and get his first win of the season. Gets into the wall, though, and that's going to slow his pace down significantly.
Yeah, and that was a pace that was already giving up about a second a lap to Michael Larch and the rest of the field on fresh tires behind him. And you can see that little bit of damage there to the right side, not going to help much when it comes to the aero here. And Michael Larch riding on the roof cam there of the 48. And you can see that truck 2 trucks ahead, now 3 trucks ahead off in the distance. And it is getting bigger and bigger towards that windshield of the 48 truck.
That really starts to add on to the pressure you feel in that 94 truck. At some point, you just got to accept he's going to get there, and you got to hit your lines. Just worry about your own race, because this could still be a very, very good night for the 94 machine if it doesn't end up in victory lane. So he's still got the lead, but it's down to a 2.5 seconds. We're going to stay here and just watch the progress of the 48 stalking his prey out here with 1 truck separating him. That's Kevin Asanio, who's a lap down.
And I tell you what, we're talking about the differences on the entries to pit road. Larch had a pretty aggressive one, made it work. Blair Holloman a little bit kind of middle of the ground. Brad Herman went super aggressive. Andrew Harris went very conservative. Look where they all came out on this. Michael Larch, he's going to be second in the running order. Brad Herman third. Blair Holloman fourth. Andrew Harris now fifth. So the entry on the pit road proving ultra important in this running order. It's also a difference of about 3 seconds for Holloman and Harris behind Larch now.
Yeah, it's just the difference between winning races and finishing in the top 5. Sometimes we're seeing a few other trucks. Bobby Anderson coming back down. Kyle Spees coming down pit road, as well as Raul Mesa all coming down.
And they all came down about 20 laps ago, so they committed to a 2-stop strategy. They could have made it on 1 more stop, so not too sure. Oh, hello. Not too sure why they're doing 2 stops there, unless they realize that they were just setting themselves up to get really burned on that strategy, but they're still giving up about 2 laps, making another pit stop here.
So now the battle for the lead. Michael Larch goes to the inside of the 94. Lucas Lyons not going to be able to put up too much of a fight. 9 laps in difference in these tires. Put the 48 back out in front, and the 94 here in P2.
Now you start looking at the times. It's been about a second a lap difference. You got Brad Herman now about 2 seconds behind Lyons. You got another second back to Harris, another second back to Holloman, and then they start kind of gapping from there. If you're Lucas Lyons and this thing stays green, I think you're really hoping that this thing stays around a top 15 finish with the way that the tire fall off has been between these trucks that came in super early in that pit window and those that came in a little bit later trying to break this race up more evenly from our last restart.
So there you see the hashtag Go Faster creeping out there on the tower with 25 laps to go. We're going to go ahead, step aside, and run a quick commercial break and come right back with the exciting conclusion of this Truck Series race.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacttax.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
Well, you saw it there on the side-by-side. Big crash here. Let's go ahead and queue up that admin box wreck replay. Figure out exactly what happened. Let's ride with Byron Jones. So this might have been... He's all by himself here.
I would take a look at the 9 of Doc Holliday.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
going to be
so
there. We go, and there he is.
Let's go right here. Looks like it's already happening a little bit. We'll rewind it a little.
So we got 3 wide here. There's Travis Burton on the outside. Jason Kratke in the middle. Yeah, netcode there at the start. Doc Holliday on the inside. He gets into Sean Kozier while trying to gather it back up. Byron Jones comes in here. And Holliday starts moving again. And I think that was the 66 of Kyle Ryan that caught that at the end. Take another look here. A little bit of netcode. They might have been getting ready to touch already, though. That's going to be one of those middle ground ones. And I think we're going to have a few more get involved here. There's the 66 of Kyle Ryan, Nathan Nixon involved in this, Bo Tiffany involved in this. It's just everybody just kind of backing into this wreck at the very end. See Derek Da Silva in the 16, Ben Park in the 8, and that's going to be super frustrating. How about Michael Larch right there, just barely missing all of that.
So back out here on the track, a lot of damaged trucks to get repaired out here. A lot of people opting to stay on out here too, but a few takers is staying out there, and one of them being Tyler Markle. He's going to be the leader here in that 42 machine.
I'm looking at these pit stops here. It looks like we're going to see Jason Kratke showing on my scoring here. Actually, he's going to be Tyler Markle. My scoring a little bit off there. Now it updated to show Tyler Markle up there. Thanks, app. It's Tyler Markle leading. Then we're going to have Mueller in second with Kratke in third. Andrew Harris, first one to make that pit stop, going to come out in fourth. And he's going to have significantly fresher tires by about 15 laps or so over these top 3.
Yeah, we've seen just how important the tires have been, so this is a bold strategy for Markle. We'll see if it works out. I mean, he's got to win here in SRN. Let's not forget about that, so he knows how he can get it done out here, but not going to have as probably many as he was hoping to have out there, as Jason Kratke opting to come down pit road as well, so that's only going to leave 2 trucks out there on old tires, Markle and Josh Mueller.
And one thing that we can kind of point out with this, that it isn't a terrible call to stay out and take that shot. They came in on lap 58, so they were one of the last ones to come down pit road when those green flag stops were going on. And we only had about 10 laps or so under green before that caution came out, so there's not going to be a ton of wear, but we did see that there is enough of a factor that I think they might be in a little bit of trouble here. But they were also sitting outside the top 10, outside the top 15 when that caution came out, so it could be a net gain by staying out.
Yeah, so let's give you a little bit of an update on some of these guys that find themselves a little bit further up in the point standings early on. Ben Park, he's at the top of the board, but right now back in 24th, the last car on the lead lap. Spees, who we saw come down pit road, that did not work out for him, considering the caution came out 5 laps later. He's now a few laps down in that 25 machine back in 26th. Actually, just 1 lap showing now. So, yeah, few guys going to have some trouble. Techmeyer, though, having a good night. He's in 13th. And then you got Byron Jones, who was just caught up in that mix. John Holliday also caught up in that. Jason Crackey, who just came down pit road. A lot of these guys going to be falling down standings here early on in the season.
I'll tell you what, looking at these point standings in the running order right now, I think we only got 3 of the top 10 drivers in the point standings after Daytona sitting inside the top 15 in the race right now. So we talk about how this leaderboard, you get through Daytona, which is kind of that wild card race to start the year, and every now and then you think, all right, how much is this going to shuffle? We're going to be seeing a complete shuffling of the deck in the point standings coming out of Kansas here in race 2.
Yes, we'll take the green with 17 laps to go if everything stays the way it is. And it is going to be an exciting one. A lot of new names. Andrew Harris back up here. He's going to be the first truck, though, with fresh tires there, the second row there on the inside, the 87 machine. He's got the 48 of Michael Larch just behind him there in 4th, so he beat the 48 on out. Brad Herman, Michael Madden in row 3. Lucas Lyons, Jose Castellanos, row 4. And Blair Holloman and Sean Jensick going to round out our 5th row. So going to be an exciting finish. Do not go anywhere. That iRacing pace car peeling off down pit road. And everybody got to remember, we got to wait till we get to that Geico restart zone. And then we see that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag waving once again.
Another huge jump for the inside of the front row. Once again, Marco with a giant jump up towards the front. Now to see how those tires work out here, as he's going to have to try to hold off Andrew Harris. Brad Herman going to move up to the 3rd position. Michael Larch trying to make that high line work. He got squeezed a little bit there by Michael Madden, who gave some space coming out of the turn, but it's battle for the lead. Andrew Harris with those fresh tires on the high side.
Yeah, I would stick to the high side with the way I've seen it, but he gets a little loose there. He's going to hang on to it. Gets tight on the exit of 4. Wow, I thought the 87 was going to be getting into the wall there, but hangs on to it and takes the lead. Andrew Harris out front. Michael Larch at the wall. Yeah, he's stuck in the wall, stays up there so he doesn't come down and hit anybody and loses a lot of real estate, falls all the way back to 21st just like that.
And we talk about it at Daytona and Talladega, how that tri-oval straightaway is really kind of shaky. It's deceptive and how difficult it is. What it looked like happened was Larch was trying to make a move to the outside at the last second, lost the momentum, lost the arrow on it, and it just dragged him all the way up towards that outside wall. But to the inside comes Brad Herman, as we've got trucks sideways at the line, but still straight on, side by side for Herman, as he's going to take the lead on the inside.
Yeah, Herman looking really strong, slides up in front of the 87. The 87, though, gets a good run off of turn 2, gets a good run all the way back down the back stretch. It's a drag race into turn 3, and Andrew Harris going to need to make that high line work because that inside really working well as Lucas Lyons now gets to the inside of the 87.
And Lucas Lyons on these short runs gets shot out of a cannon right after these restarts, and he's made a big jump. I believe he was P8 on that restart. Now all of a sudden sitting there in P2 as he's trying to keep that nose out in front of Andrew Harris. Harris is going to have the run on the outside here this time around because of that momentum. He's also going to get that draft from both Herman and Holloman around him. But Lyons holding steady to the inside there for that battle for second.
Yeah, Herman loving what he's seeing. These two battling it out. Now Holloman wanting to get in the mix too. Sean Jensick slowly creeping up to this top 4 battle. And it could really go to any one of these drivers now. Andrew Harris starting to look a little tougher there on the high line. He might be thinking about making a run to the outside of this 85. Brad Herman trying to put some air on both of the noses of the 87 and the 94. 94 going to tuck in behind the 87. And Blair Holloman going to try and go on by him.
Now, Holloman didn't see that inside work for Lyons, but he's going to give it a shot this time around, trying to be a little bit different than the rest of the field. He's also going to stay off the apron, kind of force Lyons a little bit higher on that front straightaway. It's still got some great racing, but what it's doing, all this side-by-side, all this shuffling, Sean Jensick and Austin Purnell are closing in a hurry. Top 6 now within 9/10 of a second of each other.
And you got Rob Yost back there in 7th place as well, trying to get up here in the mix and spoil the party right now. Bo Tiffany crashing back there further on back in the pack, and the yellow is out.
Well, that was abrupt how quickly that happened, and Tiffany pulling that tow button and getting to pit road very quickly there as go to the admin box rec replay for
Oh boy.
yet another time here. And I don't like the sound of that.
I think he is just going to park it right here. And that is going to bring out our 4th caution of the night.
Well, we saw him caught up in that wreck with front damage, so I'm wondering if the engine just finally started to go on that 49 truck and pulled it to the inside. And that is honestly, and anybody that's been on iRacing knows, that is one of the more frustrating things. You can see some incidents happen that go down onto the apron with no caution, and then a truck just pulls himself off the racetrack and parks it out of harm's way, and caution comes out. Just unfortunate there that we had a break there, but no fault there to Bo Tiffany. If that truck did just finally let go on him, have to take it off the racetrack somehow, but it does unfortunately bring out a caution. But what it does do is re-rack this whole thing and get it going even once again.
Surprised to not see more takers on pit road. I'm not going to lie to you. This top 16 opting to stay out. Only got about 8 trucks on pit road. Michael Larch, Daniel Park, Tyler Markle, Jason Crackey, Ben Park, Jeff No, Jose Ruiz, and Josh Mueller all opting to come on down and get 4 tires and some fuel. So I thought we would see some more people opting to do that with as many lap trucks that we have here. But nope, just 8. So we'll see how that works out. But we were in the midst of a commercial break before that last caution came out. So we're going to go ahead and take another one real quick and come right back with the finish of this race.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacttax.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
All right, pace car lights are off. We're going to have 7 laps to sort this thing out. Brandon, the question of the day, is this the final caution?
All right, so we've seen 3 wide, we've seen 4 wide, we've seen some wild restarts, we've seen some guys going from high to low, low to high on the front stretch. All that to say, no, I don't think this is our final caution here tonight. I think with the intensity ramping up, with how tightly packed everybody's been, it's go time here. I don't think we're going to keep this thing green all the way through the finish. I think we might be seeing some overtime here in Kansas Speedway.
Yeah, I got a little poll out there in the chat, see what everybody else thinks. I think we're going to get this thing green all the way to the end. I'm an optimist. I'm a glass half full kind of guy, Brandon, so I'm going to go and take the half full option here. But Geico restart zone in sight, in that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag in sight for Brad Herman, who gets us kicked back off here as we try to get this thing finished at Kansas.
Man, that inside line just continues to get some great jumps here on those restarts as see Herman pulling Blair Holloman through on the inside. Sean Jensick, who's trying to work his way from front to back all the way to the front again. Now up to P3, looking at P2 on the inside in that number 29.
See all the lanes the drivers are using here as the battles are heating up. Nobody's trying to save their stuff anymore. They're going to melt these tires for everything they've got. And Brad Herman crosses the stripe to see 6 laps to go. And side by side action right behind him. Sean Jensick roaring back to the front. He thinks he got gypped out of a win, I'm sure, last year after leading half the race. He wants to get that win here this season, even with a banged up 29 machine. Settles in third, but Andrew Harris now thinking about making it 3 wide there.
And 3 wide we go for a moment there coming off of turn 4. And that race now for the 4th, 5th, and 6th positions. As you see Lucas Lyons, big run to the inside. He's going to move into P3. Big run to the inside as well for Blair Holloman. He's going to get clear of Brad Herman.
Big slide job there. Brad Herman going to put the nose right to the bumper of that 10 here. The yellow flag is out. I thought I heard someone hitting the wall, and it's Jacob Zala, it looks like.
I saw somebody up against the wall there in turns 1 and 2. It is hoping that caution wouldn't stay out, but there we see that 35 JBR Toyota Tundra sitting there and trying to catch back up to the field. So unable to keep that caution from coming out, and we're going to do this with overtime here as we get ready for that in a few laps from now.
Yeah, let's see exactly what happened here. Find Jacob Zala on the track. Okay. Let me rewind a little bit because it's already happening. Oh, wow. This is a very long caution. This is over the course of about a half a lap here. Let's go ahead and pull it up for you here. On the admin box rec replay, some rewinding involved here. So this is following Jacob Zala there in the 35. 3 wide entering through or turn 1 and happens right in front of him with Troy Techmeyer, it looks like. And then slowly just happening further on back. And a lot of trucks involved in this.
Wow, way more going on in that one than I anticipated when I first caught that glimpse at it. But you saw the 35 there getting caught up. Looked like he checked up when he saw Troy Techmeyer kind of getting sideways there. Not sure what happened to that 32 truck, and it's a little bit difficult to kind of see that 32 number, but that all-black truck. There you see the contact there with Danny Dow, and Techmeyer just gets sideways. I think that gets Zala to check up on the inside. There's the recovery from Techmeyer. See David Miller up in the wall there on the high side. Zala checks up, and then there's this contact here with Jose Ruiz. That's actually going to be net code. Ruiz actually got pushed into Zala also, as that just all accordioned up. And a lot of trucks getting banged up in that from what really wasn't a whole lot. It just kept extending into more and more and more as time went by.
The big hit there. Kyle Spees gets lucky. It kind of glitches on through there in the 25 machine. Last week's winner catching a break and looking like he might not have any damage on that 25 truck. So lucky for him. He's going to be able to salvage some points here as he's back on the lead lap now after this one.
That's a heck of a recovery there for Spees. We were talking about him being one of the lucky dog contenders. He does get back out there onto that lead lap, now to P23. Still 26 trucks on the lead lap despite all the trucks we've seen damaged here in this race. A lot of guys doing a really good job about minimizing the damage out there. None better than Blair Holloman, who got the lead just before that caution came out. And he'll be sitting there with that lead as we get ready for the first of up to 3 potential overtime sprints.
Brandon, everybody in the chat picking no, and I think I'm going to go ahead and assume, there were some cheaters. They changed their vote after this caution happened. I can't be the only optimist in this league, but no less, we have our 5th caution of the night out. Pace car lights still on. Blair Holloman still out in front in that beautiful looking Kodak kind of throwback almost. I love that paint scheme with Sparkle and Shine right there on the hood. So Blair Holloman, our leader at the moment. Brad Herman just behind him, his teammate there for Zuyos Racing, so they're having a good night so far. Lucas Lyons here in the third position. Sean Jensick, we saw him battling up there for the lead. See if he can do it with the damage he has on that 29 machine. He's in fourth with Andrew Harris here in fifth. Rob Yost finds himself in sixth after a good night, started eighth, currently in the sixth position. Michael Madden going to be here in seventh place. Eighth place belonging to Austin Purnell. Trevor Williams here in P number 9. Jose Castellanos rounding out our top 10. So a lot of the guys we saw early on starting to make their way back up after the strategies kind of separating things up a little bit.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of different strategies, saw some cautions take out some guys there as well, but really the fastest trucks all night long really are working their way back up towards the front here at the end of this thing, barring a couple of them that had some incidents there on track. But I'm really curious to see, because on these restarts, we've seen Lucas Lyons be probably the most aggressive driver and taking some shots. We've seen, longer runs. I think Brad Herman has been the fastest one out there. Andrew Harris and Blair Holloman kind of in the middle. But Sean Jensick's kind of the wild card in this one. He's worked his way all the way up from dead last after lap number 8, and just an incredible run. But I'm curious if he's got the speed here on this short run to finish this one off. Either way, one of the better recovery drives we've seen in SRN in quite some time.
Yeah, so if you like what you're seeing, please make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that little bell so you know next time that we go live. And it's going to be tomorrow night for the Xfinity Series race out at Gateway, but we've still got 3 laps to sort this thing out. And the Silverback Tag Solutions green flag is back out here for Blair Holloman.
Another big jump there. He pulls out about 3 truck lengths ahead of Brad Herman. That's going to open up the door for Lucas Lyons to clear Herman for second place. And Lyons going to try to pull right up to that tailgate of the 10 truck of Blair Holloman. He's there. If he's got to run, big run to the outside for the 94. Back down to the inside, trying to find some ground. He's got it. Got the nose inside. That might set up 3 wide, though.
Yeah, that's going to slow both of these guys. Momentum down heading into turn 3. Brad Herman with a full head of steam as they exit turn 4. Drag race back to the line to see that white flag waving anybody's race right now for the top 5.
Oh my goodness, we got 5 trucks under a blanket all racing for the win. A couple of trucks not far off if trouble happens. Tight squeeze there coming off of turn 2. That's going to make Lyons lose a little bit of pace. Blair Holloman pulls out in front. Brad Herman to position number 2.
Yeah, so Holloman settles down in first. Brad Herman going to try to make one last grasp at this lead, but both the Zuyos trucks going to drag race back to the line. I think it's going to be Blair Holloman real close, but the 10 wins it here tonight.
Saw a little bit of wrecking there in the back half of that top 10, but what a sprint to the finish there in overtime. Blair Holloman, 0.03 of a second clear of Brad Herman. Lucas Lyons will hold on to the third position. Andrew Harris and Sean Jensick rounding out the top 5. The entire top 10 within a second of each other.
Well, we teased it the whole race. Kansas gonna Kansas.
Oh man, I don't think it's possible for the trucks at Kansas to ever be a bad thing. If we wanted to do 20 weeks of trucks at Kansas, I would be all for it.
You have to make that happen because this thing really puts out some great races, and Blair Holloman had to earn it here tonight. All these guys were battling hard here, but he comes away with it with the Sparkle and Shine Mobile Detailing Customer Club Toyota Tundra. And, he's going to be burning it down here tonight. So let's go ahead and head back up into the blimp, why don't we, and check out our finishing order here for this evening's race. Race number 2 in the books for the Truck Series. Blair Holloman coming away, P number 1. Brad Herman finishing in second place. Lucas Lyons here in third. Andrew Harris and Sean Jensick rounding out our top 5.
It'll be Michael Madden in position number 6. Rob Yost Jr. will be in position 7. Danny Dow in number 8. Trevor Williams will finish 9th. Jeff Vickery will round out the top 10.
And you got Jose Castellanos here in 11th. Jeff No, newcomer here, my good buddy. Stout whiskey from the Xbox days. Sitting here, P number 12. Tyler Markle in 13th. Matthew Grayhouse in 14th, and Austin Purnell in 15th.
Hey, you had me at Stout Whiskey. That's just a good combination of words right there. 16th is going to be Michael Large, one of the faster trucks all race long until he got caught up into a little bit of trouble there late in that one. Position 17 will go to Kyle Spees, our Daytona winner. David Miller will be in 18th. Josh Mueller in 19th. Rounding out the top 20 out of 26 on the lead lap will be Jacob Zala.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the interview portion of this race. See, Lucas Lyons already waiting in the broadcast waiting room. Let's go ahead, bring Lucas on up. Lucas, first off, thanks for ratting me out. I was trying to keep Brandon silenced all night long, and you had to go ahead and tell everybody about it. But hey, it worked out for you. You're up here in the booth talking to us now. Congratulations on a good night, man. Tell us about that finish there at the end.
I really try to give Blair everything I had. Starting from 20th, joining with only 2 minutes before qualifying. I really tried to give him everything I had. Wait for him to move up the track on the middle of the backstretch, try to get underneath. He pinched me down really well, but left enough room for the corner. So I really appreciate that, Blair, keeping it clean. And I really wanted that win. I love these trucks here. It's one of my favorite track combinations. Basically, any truck with a mile and a half is absolutely fantastic. But I will say, coming from P20s to actually talking to you guys is actually spectacular, in my opinion.
That was a huge run through the field, and I think the second most or third most positions gained over the course of the entire race. So a quality run there, leading to that third. And talk about the mile and a half. So we got another one of them coming up next week. Just a very different style one with the trucks coming up next week. So how do you feel about going forward there, and what we're going to be seeing next time around?
Well, hopefully there'll be a spot open, so I could still try to get points for when a spot does open for a full-time driver. My current focus right now is Xfinity at Gateway. I ran a few laps before I ran here, so that might have helped with how I ran this track. The first half I really just try to learn, but hopefully there's a spot open so I can have a great shot at next week if I am able to race Phoenix, because that's one of my favorite tracks. Also, got pulled there a few seasons ago, and quality finishes always come from Phoenix for me. So.
With all the split schedules, I was thinking the wrong track. I was thinking the Botegi next week. So Phoenix definitely not a mile and a half. Thank you for catching me on that one. You're really good at catching us today on some things.
I know, right?
All right, Lucas. Well, before we let you go, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, first I'd like to give a shout out to the Highline guys that came over to the chat when they realized that there was a spot open for me to race, so I really appreciate that. Daniel, Bo, even though he's on JW in the trucks, Cole, and Fungus, one of the people I race GT3s with and supercars and stuff like that. Shout out to all my friends and family. If you need a home loan, do it with my mom. She can do it in a list of states. I have a list here if I can find it really quick, but if not, it's whatever. She can do Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, Illinois, Florida, and Oklahoma. So if you need a home loan, just reach out to Greg or anybody in the SRN. And my Twitch is Lions Pride Gaming. If you want to go sub over to that. But yeah, I really appreciate you all throwing this on. I really appreciate Tripp allowing me to run on just 2 minutes before qualifying, but just shout out to everybody who's in chat right now also, sticking around for the end of the race, try to make it entertaining for everybody.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate all the kind words, and have fun celebrating a good night. We hope to see you next week, man.
All right, you too.
All right, Brandon, that was our third place finisher here this evening, Lucas Lyons. Let's go ahead and track down our runner-up, Brad Herman, and move him on up into the booth. Brad, it's Brandon Domain, Greg Olenek up here in the broadcast booth. Good to see you here in Season 4, and congrats on the runner-up here. I know you probably wanted one more position, but, hey, still a hard-fought battle, coming away with P2 and a lot of points here tonight. Tell us about the end of that one.
Yeah, had a good truck all night. Definitely didn't have the qualifying spot I wanted to, but was just playing the race out and riding it easy and trying to figure out when to go and when to get spots. And ended up in the lead there after that pit cycle and getting by Harris, and had Blair coming up behind me, and you know how it is racing teammates. You got to race them different, and I don't know if I'd have done anything different if there was somebody else behind me because he made a really good move. But once that green white checkered came around and Lucas and him got to hitting, and we got into that last corner, and I said, well, I'm gonna push you, and we're gonna try to win this race, and we ended up getting 1-2. So I'm happy to have the teamwork work out.
Yeah, it really felt like this race. If it stayed on the longer runs, you were really the better truck, the best truck out there in terms of once we got past about 25, 30 laps out there. So how much did that change the mindset once we started seeing those sprints with the late cautions there at the end? Did you feel that you still had that kind of run in the truck, or was it just kind of one of those things where it was, let me get what I can get here, just because that longer run seemed to suit you a whole lot more than the rest of the field?
I knew I had the speed in the truck, but I just was lifting the whole time and just trying to save it for the end. And it helped me a lot once we got to the high side in that one run. Just couldn't capitalize on it fully. If that next run would have went out, it would have been better. But yeah, with about 17 laps to go at that restart, I knew there was no saving. It was go time.
Well, man, we're excited to see you back up here in the broadcast. We're doing a lot of racing here in Speed Racing Network across all the divisions. And doing a great job, man. So we look forward to seeing what you can do next week. But have fun celebrating with those Zuyos boys. And have a good night, man.
Thanks, man. Just got to say shout out to Zuyus and all they did for me.
Awesome. Take care, man. And we'll see you out there next week.
Yep. See you boys later.
All right, Brandon. Well, that was Brad Herman coming home in P number 2. One man to get to, and that's our winner here tonight. So let's go ahead and cue up the butt kicker victory lane right now and bring up Blair Holloman. Blair, it's Brandon Domain, Greg Olenek, your good buddies here at Speed Racing Network. Congratulations on your first win of the season. Tell me, were you sweating there at the end? Don't lie to me.
I wouldn't be lying. I was definitely nervous there at the end of this one. Those last couple restarts, it was pretty hectic.
Hey, yeah, it was definitely hectic. But tell me, man, going into this week, were you expecting to have a good week out here at Kansas?
Not really. The reason being, the last 2 times we raced at Kansas, I don't think I actually finished. I know I crashed out last season, and the first season I wrecked out. So I was just hoping that I could get through the evening with maybe a top 15, a running truck, and I'd have been content with that.
Oh man, at the end of this one, I think this is what your third finish of within about 500ths of a second, and this time you came out on top of one of these. What was it like trying to hold off your teammate there coming out of turn 4?
Just nervousness. When I came off of 4, I knew Brad had the tow, and it's just, if he could side draft me quick enough, it was his. But thankfully, I was able to get on the apron and get out of town before he could do that.
Well,
but it's beautiful that there's a 1-2 Zuyos finish out there.
Yeah, not bad for week number 2, and it's important with the way this team championship is now here in SRN. So, Blair, tell me what this win does for you here confidence-wise as we head on to a very tough schedule for a lot of the guys out here in the Truck Series.
It definitely gives me a mode of confidence. I know last season I was able to get good finishes, but I just couldn't get a win. Like I tried, but I wasn't able to get it done. So this time around, it just gives me the confidence and at least shows me that if I play the cards correctly, there's a shot that I can actually get it done.
Well, you got it done here tonight, and that's for damn sure. But before we let you go here and you get to celebrate with your Zuyos boys, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, I'd like to give a quick shout out, of course, to all the guys at Rat Pack, Rat Pack Racing and Zuyos Racing. Everyone, we all come together, practice. Just, it's a family. Like honestly, everyone there from Madden, from Jensic, Kosier, Dow, and all of them over there on the Rat Pack side, to even our Zuyos guys with Yost, Herman, Techmeyer, and Travis. It's a huge family. I want to give a shout out to my sponsors, Sparkle and Shine Mobile Detailing and Customer Club. Of course, can't forget Matco Tools at Roy Salisbury, my tool guy, and ACR Autocore Recycling with Brian and Brandy Lefevre. And with people watching. I know my little brother's in the other room watching, so I'm glad I got another win here.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations once again. You commanded that Kodak looking the truck pretty well out there. And looking forward to seeing what you can do next week. Have fun celebrating this one, man, and make sure you get some sleep tonight.
Thank you, guys. I'll catch you next week.
All right, man. Have fun. All right, Brandon, that's going to do it here. That wraps it up for tonight. That was a doozy, and we knew it was going to be that way all along.
Yeah, every now and then we do get one right, and that felt good to see that kind of a race here tonight after we were hyping it up all week long since Daytona last week. We were talking about how this is going to be one of the better races on the season, and it did live up to expectations. And, you know, as crazy as that finish was, one of the things that a lot of drivers talk about is who's a clean driver, who's an aggressive driver. Blair, one of the cleaner drivers out there, and he did a whale of a job holding everybody off while still being clean that entire way. That was one of the more impressive drives in overtime that I've seen in a while.
I couldn't agree with you more, and it's going to be another good one. We saw a heck of a race last year at Phoenix in the Truck Series, and that's where these guys will be next week, going out there racing under the lights, 110 miles, 110 laps out in the desert. But that's going to wrap it up for us here in Kansas, and that's going to leave us with one more race to go this week, and that's going to be the Xfinity Series, boys. They're going to get out there and turn some laps at Worldwide Technology Raceway out at Gateway, and that is going to be a good one, a tough track for those guys to go ahead and tackle. So definitely come on back, same time, same place tomorrow, 8:55. We'll get the show started, and I got Drew Ballesteros joining me in the booth. So make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that little bell so you know exactly when we go live. But for myself, Brandon Domain, and all the other admins behind the scenes, that's going to do it for us here tonight. Good night, and go faster.